company that rents out these studios now took it over and broke it up into studios, this floor, the 7th floor, and also the 6th floor below this.
So Musa, tell me a little bit about what you are doing these days.
I'm primarily a maker of circles. I'm formally trained as a sculptor, and I'm an installation artist. And the reason I say that I'm a maker of circles is, for example, these reasons. Some of these works here are from a series of work that I do that are inspired by Native American dream catchers. But since graduate school, I've dealt with a lot of spheres and circles because of their very basic relationship to omnipotence, spiritual connections, and forms that are naturally shaped in the universe.
So these here, I can definitely see how that looks like a dream catcher in a way, resembles. What materials are you using?
Well, there's a show I'm probably going to do in Manhattan coming up next year where I want to have maybe like 100 of these. Basically, there's bicycle wheels, and I'm weaving in these dream catcher patterns from various materials of these within these bicycle wheels. Right here I have a little leather and feathers. Feathers is something that I use a lot in my work. This one right here has some fishing wire. Actually use fishing wire a lot in my work too because I like the ethereal feel of fishing wire. A material that you have to get very close and really analyze to even see it, you know. Sometimes I do room installations with fishing wire where a person can like not even notice that there's an installation and then kind of before they know almost get caught up in a web, and then usually they go, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You get an invisible sculpture, you know. Bob wire I work with a lot also. You know, you can see this piece here also for an installation that I did a few months ago at 5 Miles Gallery here in Brooklyn. I did an entire room of barbed wire with a person connected through an umbilical cord, and this barbed wire, you see these wrapped up pieces kind of extending and connecting all into that space.
Is that hard to work with? Looks dangerous.
Something that attracts me to barbed wire and to certain materials similar to that is making fluid things that are difficult and rigid, things that are challenging to you mentally and physically, making those fluid kind of as a meditative process, you know, as a metaphor for making life fluid or making difficult challenges more ingrained with something that can become a very lasting and positive possibility, you know. So the soft and the hard, the rough, you know, the easy, all become different type of meditative processes for me. This is a piece that I call Homeland Security. It's made out of aluminum. I have a steel chain, and this is actually, it says master here, there's a master lock. This actually looks like it will weigh like 1,000 tons, but that was the way I designed it. When in reality, it's pretty light, you know. It just has an aluminum surface that I built on it to give it that kind of 1 ton of steel type of look, you know. And it's painted with a silver acrylic paint to kind of finish it off there. But, you know, I did this piece way back in 2004, probably. And this was during a time, you know, after 9/11, when there was a lot of concern about, you know, the Muslim community and terrorism and things like that. And this as a metaphor for how government agencies were using that to create more fear, to extend their control over Americans. You know, so they're saying, okay, our threats are coming from the Middle East. Just like in the Cold War, they're saying that our threats are coming from Russia. But as a result, what are they doing? You know, they're becoming like Big Brother, and they're infringing on Americans' rights. You know, so you have to ask your question, was that threat ever real, or was that a kind of a concocted fear so that people will willingly give up a lot of the liberties that they have? You know, so, you know, often with artists, we don't do things in a linear kind of straightforward way. You know, this becomes an abstract interpretation of the type of conversations that I had with a lot of intellectual folk during that time.
Smaller pieces.
You know, just that shape within itself.
That's true.
You know, a lot of times with sculptors, especially if you're doing conceptual or abstract work, you're very much dealing with how the materials that you're working with address the space around it. You know, when you're doing figurative or what's called realistic work, a lot of times you can tell a clear narrative just like a writer tells a story. You know, but when you're doing conceptual or abstract work, you're dealing with materials and space. And through materials and space, you're conveying a feeling. So people have a response to how they feel because of the shape, the color, the size, the texture. Is it soft? Is it hard? What color is it? How big is it? How does that space relate to my size? Me at 6'2", I may have a different relationship to somebody who's 4'11" because of the size of the work, the color. All of those things make a person just have a feeling. You know, so over your span as a sculptor, as an installation artist, it becomes a scientific experiment in how to make people have certain feelings without necessarily giving them a clear narrative. When they step to it, they just, oh, I feel a certain way. Oh, I feel a certain way. You know, so I mean, that's essentially what we're doing.